One of the biggest fears many CDL drivers have is a DOT drug test. Not because they're hiding something, but because no one really explains what's going to happen. Drivers hear stories online, they hear rumors at truck stops, they hear horror stories from other drivers. So today I want to walk you through what actually happens during a DOT drug test, what drivers should expect, what shy bladder means, when observed collections happen, and why trying to cheat the process is one of the worst decisions a driver can make. I'm Dr. Pope, a medical examiner, and I work with drivers regularly. And one of the things I learned is a lot of drivers are more nervous about the unknown than the actual process itself. So let's break it down simply. First, understand this. DOT drug testing is federally regulated. This is not a random office policy. There are Department of Transportation procedures designed to keep drivers and roads safe. Commercial drivers may be tested during several situations, including pre-employment testing, random testing, post-accident testing, reasonable suspicion testing, return to duty testing, and follow-up testing. And one of the things drivers need to understand is the collection process is highly standardized. That means collectors follow strict DOT rules and procedures. So what will happen when you arrive? First, you check in and provide identification. The collector verifies who you are and explains the process. Then you typically will be asked to select a sealed collection cup. This helps maintain chain of custody procedure. Next, you'll be directed to provide a urine sample in a secure restroom following DOT protocols. This is where drivers often become anxious, but the process itself is usually straightforward. After the sample is collected, the collector checks the temperature, the volume, and handling requirements. The specimen is then sealed, documented properly, and prepared for shipment to the lab. Everything is carefully documented because DOT testing relies heavily on chain of custody integrity. Now let's talk about one of the biggest concerns drivers have. What if I can't pee? That is actually called a shy bladder situation under DOT procedures. And yes, there are official procedures for this. Drivers are not automatically failed just because they cannot provide enough urine immediately. Under DOT guidelines, drivers may be given additional time and fluids under control procedures to attempt another collection. This is why it's important not to panic. Anxiety itself can make it harder for someone to provide a sample. Another topic drivers ask about constantly is observed collections, worrying about, are they going to watch me every time? The answer is no. Observed collections are not automatically performed on every driver. There are specific DOT regulated situation where an observed collections may be required. For example, certain return to duties, suspected tampering, or invalid collection circumstances. But routine collections are not automatically observed simply because you're taking a DOT drug test. Now I want to address something important. Some drivers search online for ways to beat or cheat DOT drug tests. This is a terrible decision. DOT laboratories and collection procedures are specifically designed to detect tampering, substituted samples, dilution, and invalid testing attempts. Trying to manipulate the process can create serious professional consequences. The smarter approach is understanding the rules, following procedures, and staying informed about DOT requirements. I also think drivers deserve honest conversations about health and wellness overall. Truck driving is demanding. Long hours, stress, sleep disruption, poor nutrition on the road, limited physical activity. And all of those things affect long-term health. That's why I believe drivers need more education, not fear, not rumors, and not misinformation. The more drivers understand the process, the less intimidating it becomes. So if you're a CDL driver preparing for a DOT drug test, don't rely on rumors, don't panic, learn the process, understand your responsibilities, and stay informed because knowledge reduces fear. I'm Dr. Pope. Subscribe for more DOT medical education, driver wellness content, CDL health information, and real explanations that truck drivers actually need.